Welcome to the second module in the high school financial planning program. This module is all about borrowing money and how we need to be able to use the ability to borrow money to our benefit and not abuse it. So credit cards, auto loans, home mortgages, pawn shops, you've probably heard a lot about debt over the years, good and bad. But debt itself is actually neither. It's not good, it's not bad. It's really just a tool to buy something now and pay for it later. So how we use debt is what's good or bad. And in this lesson, you're going to learn all about how to use credit, and we're going to help you assess reasons to use and not use credit. Today, you are going to examine the reasons why people use credit. We will discover the benefits and the risks of borrowing. We'll discuss why people borrow. I'll give you some examples of acceptable and unacceptable situations where using credit is okay and not okay. We'll be able to explain how borrowing impacts spending power. And by the end of this, you'll be able to use what you've learned to recognize situations when it makes sense to either use credit or avoid using credit. So right now, let's look at some times when it's okay to borrow money and when borrowing money might not be a good idea. So you have a new student booklet. Go ahead, turn to page 4 in that student booklet. Up at the very top of that page, it's in a gray box. It says, "What do you think? Are these good reasons to borrow money?" So I want you to pause this video, read through those 6 questions, and think for yourself, are these good reasons or bad reasons to borrow money? We'll go over them in a second, but first I want you to read through them and decide for yourself what you think. So are these good reasons to borrow money or not good reasons to borrow money? The first question was taking out a $5,000 student loan for college tuition. Was this okay or was this not a good idea? The second was charging dinner and movie tickets during a night out with your friends. So instead of paying with them straight away, do you put this on a credit card? Is that a good idea or a bad idea? Next, buying a laptop that's on sale using the store's financing program. Good idea or bad idea? Getting a loan to pay your credit card bills. Is that a good idea or a bad idea? Charging repairs to get your car running again. Good idea, bad idea. And lastly, borrowing cash from a friend to buy some magazines. Is that a good idea or not a good idea? So you have those written down, or you might not have them written down, but I want you to write them down right now. So just next to those 6 bullet points, you've read through them, you've thought about them, write yes or no next to them. Is it a good idea to borrow that or not a good idea? We're going to return to this at the end of the lesson, and hopefully you'll be able to really have a good decision about, is it a good idea to borrow money in these circumstances or not a good idea to borrow money in these circumstances. Now I want to introduce you to 2 individuals who will be featured in your student booklet. They're going to be learning about borrowing and credit along with us, so I want you to get to know them. The first student you're going to meet is Mariah. Mariah is a high school junior. She lives at home, she has a part-time job, and she's responsible for her own expenses. Currently, she's saving for college, and she wants to get her own credit card. The next individual is Jesse. Jesse is a sophomore who also lives at home. He doesn't have a job right now, but he is saving to buy a truck when he gets his license. This is just a brief overview of Mariah and Jesse. You can read a bit more about them on page 3 of your student guide. So I want you to turn there right now, pause this, and read the 2 paragraphs about Mariah and Jesse, because they're going to be joining us as we talk about borrowing and debt. So let's take a look at what it means to use credit. Credit means buying something now and paying for it later. An example of using credit might be going to the store and buying a new dishwasher. So dishwashers can be anywhere from $200 to $800 depending on how many bells and whistles you want to add onto it. But an acceptable price for a dishwasher is about $500. Now let's say you really need a dishwasher and yours broke down, so you're trying to get a new one, but you don't have much money saved to buy this new dishwasher. Well, if you have a credit card, you can go to the store, give the cashier your credit card, and they'll swipe it, and that company will get your $500 for this dishwasher. But no money actually comes out of your bank accounts or your savings accounts. Rather, in the next month, your credit card company will send you a bill saying you owe us $500. See, rather than you paying for that dishwasher straight from your own pocket, you've worked with another company and they are now paying your bills. But you do have to pay these people back. That's what that pay for it later comes in. A lot of people think that using credit cards is a bad thing because it builds up your debt and then you're just in debt and you're constantly paying people back. But it's how we use credit that's good or bad. It's not using credit that's a terrible thing. It's how we use it and how we abuse it that can be viewed as good or bad. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, I'm too young, or I have no reason to take out a loan or get my own credit card. But you might in the future, and in order to be ready, you want to prepare now so that you know how to use good credit and have wise credit handling strategies. So you probably are already practicing some good or maybe even some negative borrowing habits. So I want you to complete an activity for me. Let's just see how good your borrowing of money is right now. So turn to page 6 in your student guide. This is activity 2.1. It's called the Borrowing Fitness Test. Do you know what it takes to be a responsible borrower? Find out by answering the questions below. So do you do these? Write in yes if you already are doing these. Write in no if you're not doing these. Do you repay money loans from friends and family before they have to ask you for it? Yes or no? Number 2, do you often borrow money to pay for something you can't afford right now? Yes or no? Number 3, do you return library books and other borrowed items before they're due and return them in good condition? Yes or no? Number 4, do you frequently ask for an advance on your paycheck or allowance? An advance is getting it early. Do you ask for money early? Yes or no? Number 5, do you replace money you borrow from your savings account or from other spending fund plans? So once you use it, do you put that back when you have the available funds? Yes or no? Number 6, do you borrow items from your parents or siblings without asking or getting permission first? That would be called stealing. Are you stealing money from people that you know? Yes or no? Number 7, do you know how much money you owe others right this very moment? Do you know how much you owe your sister and your brother and your mother? Yes or no? And number 8, do you ever make monthly or weekly payments late? So if you have a payment that's due, are you paying it late or are you paying it on time? So the more yes answers you have on the odd numbered questions and the more no answers you have on the even numbered questions is the more fit you are to be a smart borrower. So you could have like a score of 8 if you have yes answers on 1, 3, 5, and 7, give yourself a point. If you have no answers on 2, 4, 6, and 8, give yourself a point. Okay, so hopefully your score is, between a 5 and an 8. If not, we've got some areas that we need to work on. So the more fit you are to be a smart borrower, the better you're going to do in these lessons. But don't worry if you don't have a good score right now, we're still going to improve your score by the end of this module. So it's never too late for breaking a bad habit. Right now, take a moment and pause this video. I want you to read page 7, Reap the Rewards. So this page just gives a whole lot of ideas and examples of why people use credit and how it can be used in a positive and sometimes a negative way. So pause this video and read that, please. So you've read about examples of why people use credit. Let's look at a big picture at borrowing. So credit in the community. Credit really makes the world go round. So look at this picture. You have this on page 8 of your student guide. When we use credit, it contributes to economic growth because money is circulating between consumers and businesses and workers. So let's just think about the Christmas season. The Christmas season is almost here, and during that time consumers spend a lot more money. They're spending money on Christmas decorations and Christmas food and goodies and Christmas gifts. And when we're talking about Christmas gifts, a lot of the time people want to buy, that really fancy toy for their son or daughter. So the demand for that product, it rises. It rises for that really fancy toy. So companies, they spend more during this time to hire more employees. So in order to hire more employees, you have to have money. The companies got the money because consumers were buying their products. So they're going to hire more employees. And when there are more employees and they get to work more hours, the employees earn more money. And when employees earn more money, they have more money to spend on other things. And this goes around in a circle. It doesn't matter where you start. This is a cycle that will continue to happen. When consumers, people who have money, spend it on different things, the businesses will get more money. When businesses have more money, they can give more money to their employees, and the cycle continues to go around forever. But sometimes a business's company might not do well and their income won't increase. Or a consumer, somebody who needs to buy something, might not have the money they need right now. So borrowing is another way that can help the economy grow. When we borrow money from lenders, we can continue this cycle instead of breaking it. But as we've seen in recent years, sometimes if we borrow more than we can afford, it can actually end up hurting our economy. You can read more about how credit can boost our economy on page 8 in your student guide. So I'd like for you to turn there right now if you haven't already and read about how credit can improve our economy and also how it can hurt it. So go ahead and pause this and read page 8 in your student guide. There are a few different credit options that people choose when they need to use credit. One option is revolving credit. That would be like a credit card. So when you have a credit card, you borrow this money for many different purchases. You might use it for gas or groceries, but you do have a credit limit. Let's say it's $500. So this company is giving you $500 and you can spend it however you like. And then you repay what you owe every month. If you don't repay it, then you have to pay interest, and that we'll get into later. Another type of credit option is installment credit. So this would be like a car loan. A company will give you $5,000 to purchase a new or a used car, and it's to buy something, one specific item, not multiple things. And then you make multiple payments to repay it over a set amount of time. The last is a cash loan, and this is when you borrow a specific amount of cash to use on whatever you want, and you must repay it by a set date. So these all have similarities and differences involved with them, and we'll continue looking at credit options as we go through this entire borrowing module. There's actually one more credit option, and that is a service credit, which is like a cell phone or electricity. And that is when you promise to pay for services that you use each month. So you use your cell phone each month, you promise Verizon Wireless or Sprint that you are going to pay them for the amount of text messaging that you've done during the month. So that is all the time that we have for in this session. I hope you've seen how credit can be good and bad and different reasons why people use credit within this module section. We'll come back in the next section to talk just a little bit more about the reason for buying and using credit.